like, hey, Scoop, like, let's get out of here, man. Klaus, what are you doing? Come back to bed, honey. We're having the good time. I never understood why they call it French toast. There's nothing French about that toast. God damn it.
So far, 2022 has had so many good games that I could not get enough. This being one of those games that I waited for pretty much all year round. I love the Dark Picture Anthology games. Last year in 2021, I played House of Ashes, and it was the first game in the series that I played. It was so good that when it was done, I couldn't believe it was over, and I had to go and try all the rest of them. Now, I will tell you that I have a special place in my heart for House of Ashes, just because of how good the game was and how it caught me off guard. To be honest, when starting this game, my expectations were super high. When I saw the trailer for this game, and it being a premise that is a Saw-inspired thriller, I said to myself, this is gonna be something very different than what we experienced in House of Ashes, and I was not wrong. House of Ashes has this very over-the-shoulder, rustic film style, almost like you're being followed by a camera crew. When this game, you have a lot of static camera movements and you have a lot of time to think. You're not thrown into a battlefield, you're a film crew. Where House of Ashes has this horror being this monster that's literally chasing you, this game goes with a more subtle approach. They have you play as this film crew, where you're filming a video about this serial killer who has killed real people in real life, by the way. H.H. Holmes was an actual serial killer, but anyways, let's get back to the premise. You're playing as a film crew who is researching this actual serial killer, and the whole entire team gets this random invitation to this castle, which is a remake of the actual murder castle he had. And this castle is filled to the brim with little traps and little tiny things that will remind you of Saw from start to finish. Now, as for the actual character development, I will say that it feels very driven by your choices in the game. There are several people in this actual thing that end up dating, not dating, getting back together, not getting back together. It feels like you control so much of the options that are there that it feels that their whole life's choices are being made in this one castle, and it feels a little forced writing-wise. So for me, I didn't like that portion. And by consequence, because of the choices that they made on those avenues, made it so that the characters don't fit into archetypes. And by direct consequence, your characters don't really fit into an archetype or anything to play around. It feels like you could basically do whatever you want with all the characters, and that's fine. If you want that out of this game, you're gonna get it. Like, you're gonna be able to play with the director as a super nice guy or a complete dick. It's up to you. Personally, I think I would much prefer somebody who is a dick and is still a dick, but builds character, or maybe through the actions that happen, grows. In the last game, there's this cowboy American guy who's saying some outlandishly kind of racist stuff. But as you play, you can make him grow as a character where he's no longer hating the civilians in that area, and he becomes a person that's more, respectable. Or you could choose to make him a racist asshole, but he's still kind of in the range of what he should be in. In this game, you have characters that will go from being completely nice to completely a dick just because why not? Fuck it, we wrote it into the thing. Now, if you've played another Dark Pictures Anthology game, you've pretty much played the exact same game we're playing here. You have this linear area that you're going to be venturing off in that's going to drop you in. You're going to figure out a little puzzle here and there, the usual stuff. But the difference now is that you can have an inventory. You could give items to certain characters, and those items can actually affect the different cutscenes that you'll have. This is a nice welcome addition to the already existing gameplay that they have, and it could also affect your storyline because those items can make it so that your character will survive or die, or you kill the character because you gave an item to the wrong person. I think this is a great addition to the already existing gameplay mechanics that they had, because now there's a new dimension. What item does this guy have? What item does she have? Is it going to make a difference for them to survive or not? It adds more replay value to the game that already exists, so it's pretty cool. And that's pretty much why you'd want to have this game, is for the replay value, to understand, oh, did I make it through? What could I have done differently? What could have saved them? There's so many different options that is a part of the fun of these Dark Picture Anthology games. Now, when talking about these horror games, you have to talk about the bad guy. H.H. Holmes is a very recognizable and has a silhouette that is playable and malleable for this type of video game. His character with the bowler hat is memorable, and you're going to think twice when you see a bowler hat outside of this game for sure. This is important because a bad guy in a horror movie is the main character. Forget everybody else, forget all the people that are in there. You're gonna remember the bad guy. Now, for as good as the choice is to choose H.H. Holmes as the bad guy, unfortunately, I feel that they did a bad job recreating that actual horror that H.H. Holmes would have created on these actual people that were killed by him. Not only this, but if you're going to be selling this idea that it's going to be a Saw game or Saw-like, you didn't really give us those Saw moments where it's you have to choose between me and you. Like, we got a few of them, but it didn't hit the right way. It's like a bad punchline at the end of a joke. It just didn't work. I feel like this might be one of the biggest problems of this game, that one of the major puzzle pieces doesn't fit for this puzzle, and because of that it ended up severely suffering. Like, I just don't see myself replaying this game. But a game like the Quarry, I've played 3 or 4 times already since the game has come out, and this is from the same developer with the same mechanics and everything except for the inventory. So if you have more puzzle pieces gameplay wise, you know, and all the rest that comes with it, the only thing that falls apart is you're a bad guy. And that is the issue with this game. I just feel that the bad guy wasn't really put to like an actual taunting and menacing feel. I understand that it does hit in some moments and you will get that feeling from time to time, but the bad guy in a narrative game like this didn't hold the presence that he should have. And that made the game, you know, not as good as its predecessor. Okay, so I want to bring up the length of this game. This is not a long game, and I beat this game in about 5 hours. Yes, I had characters die. Yes, that will affect the actual length of the game, but that's normal. This is a game where your characters will die and things will happen. So keep in mind that this game will be a bit shorter than other games you might buy for the same price range. So do with that what you will. Like every other one of my videos, I gotta talk about price range. So this game is retailing for about $53.49, and that's not full retail pricing that would normally happen, but this isn't a full game experience. You're getting 5 hours worth of a game. So it feels like they kind of knew this game was on the shorter end. And because of that, I really want to tell you that I don't think this game is worth that price. I really even think that it's worth even less. If we were to talk about percentages and whatnot, or even like what price would be acceptable for this game, we have to compare it to House of Ashes, and House of Ashes right now is retailing for $39.99. Now, if you look in the video, you see the game is actually on special for $19.99. And if House of Ashes is acceptable at $19.99, I would have to say that this game probably would have to go for anywhere between $39 to $30. That's a buy range that I would accept. Anything over that point, it's getting a little steep. This is yet another episode of Is It Worth It? My name is Daskys, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to be a part of the recording process, you can click my Twitch link down below. It was a pleasure. All the best. Never change. Watch out for strangers and look both ways for crossing the street. And yeah, I love you, you beautiful bastard.